Hello and welcome. The Mojo Story team continues to be on the ground here in Punjab. We've been bringing you exclusive ground reports on Operation Amritpal, the massive manhunt to catch the Khalistani sympathizer. It's more than 100 hours and counting, and now reports are suggesting that Amritpal Singh has left Punjab and, in fact, sought refuge in Haryana. In fact, certain arrests have also been made in Haryana of those who are suspected to have given him shelter. We have, in fact, traveled to the last place in Punjab where he hid, and a special report from that Gurdwara in a moment. The case continues to get more and more bizarre. Where is Amritpal Singh? The entire country and the Punjab and Haryana High Court want to know. Meanwhile, Amritpal Singh's wife, a UK based NRI, is also under the scanner. And as I mentioned, reports are now suggesting that Amritpal Singh, he was at this Gurdwara last in Punjab, where we reported from. He's now left the borders of Punjab and is reported to have sought refuge inside Haryana. We reported from his last hideout. We continue to be on his trail. But in the meanwhile, the Amritpal Singh and the Khalistan issue has caused fresh anxieties between India and the United Kingdom. The United Kingdom Foreign Secretary has had to intervene, even as there have been fresh provocations outside India's High Commission in London, where the Indian High Commission responded to smoke bombs and ink-filled bottles with an even longer, bigger tiranga that was draped all across the breadth of the Indian High Commission in London. Now, the new twist in the tale. Amritpal Singh, possibly in Haryana, the diplomatic furor continuing. Now, you may wonder where I am right now. So, let me tell you a little bit about where we are right now. Today is Shaheed Bhagat Singh's death anniversary, and we are in Khatkar Kalan. We thought it appropriate to come here not just because it's the great man's death anniversary, and we believe that he represents the spirit of Punjab, the spirit of India, but also what could make for a more ironic and telling juxtaposition than what Bhagat Singh stood for and what Amritpal Singh stands for. So, borrowing from this commemorative date in history, we are coming to you this evening, live from Punjab, on the ground, from Khatkar Kalan, Shaheed Bhagat Singh's ancestral village. And we are looking at this bizarre, dangerous phenomena of Amritpal Singh, who is now causing India and the United Kingdom to enter a grave round of anxieties and tension. Let's go across now to our guests this evening. Let me introduce our guests. Joining us is military veteran Colonel KJ Singh. It's good to see you, sir. Also joining us is veteran diplomat Ambassador Achal Malhotra. Welcome to the program, sir. Also joining us on the program is General Dhruv Katoch, Major General Dhruv Katoch, who's also a director at the India Foundation. And also joining us from the United Kingdom today is Kapil Komireddy, who's a writer and author with very strong opinions on this revival or attempted revival at Khalistan. Now, I'm not sure. Yeah, I'm just being told that the Punjab police is having a live press conference every day. We think, will they announce that they're ready to produce Amritpal Singh, the Khalistani separatist and sympathizer, in public domain? That announcement does not come. Before I get first comments from all of you, let's go across live to the Inspector General of Punjab Police, who's speaking to the media.
ਔਰ ਦੂਸਰਾ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ ਸਾਰਿਆਂ ਦਾ ਧੰਨਵਾਦ ਕੀਤਾ ਜੋ ਕੋਆਪਰੇਸ਼ਨ ਸਟੇਟ ਵੱਲੋਂ ਮਿਲੀ ਆ ਜਿਸ ਤਰ੍ਹਾਂ ਲੋਕਾਂ ਨੇ ਆਪਸੀ ਸਦਭਾਵਨਾ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਕਾਇਮ ਰੱਖੀ ਆ ਕਮਿਊਨਲ ਹਾਰਮਨੀ ਯੂਨਿਟੀ ਕਾਇਮ ਰੱਖੀ ਆ ਉਹਦੇ ਵਾਸਤੇ ਥੈਂਕਫੁਲ ਆ ਸਾਰੀ ਸਟੇਟ ਦੇ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਸਭ ਤੋਂ ਅਹਿਮ ਗੱਲ ਆ ਕਿ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਵੱਲੋਂ ਬਹੁਤ ਕਲੀਅਰ ਡਾਇਰੈਕਸ਼ਨ ਆ ਵੀ ਕਿਸੇ ਨੂੰ ਵੀ ਅਨਨੈਸੈਸਰੀਲੀ ਹਰਾਸ ਨਹੀਂ ਕੀਤਾ ਜਾਊਗਾ ਇਸ ਕੇਸ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਪੁਲਿਸ ਕਿਸੇ ਵੀ ਇਨੋਸੈਂਟ ਬੰਦੇ ਨੂੰ ਇਸ ਕੇਸ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਬੁੱਕ ਨਹੀਂ ਕਰੇਗੀ ਇਹ ਨਹੀਂ ਕਿ ਸਿਰਫ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਕੋਈ ਫਾਲੋਅਰ ਸੀਗੇ ਜਾਂ ਕੋਈ ਜਨਰਲੀ ਫਾਲੋ ਕਰਦੇ ਸੀ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਕਿਸੇ ਤਰ੍ਹਾਂ ਨਾਲ ਹਰਾਸ ਨਹੀਂ ਕੀਤਾ ਜਾਊਗਾ ਸਿਰਫ ਉਹੀ ਲੋਕ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਇਸ ਕੇਸ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਡੀਪਲੀ ਇਨਵੋਲਵਡ ਸੀਗੇ ਸਿਰਫ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦੇ ਖਿਲਾਫ ਕਾਰਵਾਈ ਕੀਤੀ ਜਾਊਗੀ ਇਹਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਪ੍ਰੋਪਰ ਡਿਫਰੈਂਸ਼ੀਏਟ ਕੀਤਾ ਜਾਏਗਾ ਕਿ ਕਿਹੜੇ ਬੰਦੇ ਇਨੋਸੈਂਟ ਆ ਕਿਹੜੇ ਬੰਦੇ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਨੇ ਹਾਰਡਕੋਰ ਆ ਇਹਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਔਰ ਜਿਨ੍ਹਾਂ ਦੀ ਕੋਈ ਛੋਟੀ ਮੋਟੀ ਕਈ ਵਾਰੀ ਕਿਉਂਕਿ ਯੂਥ ਸਾਡਾ ਬਹੁਤ ਇਨੋਸੈਂਟ ਆ ਕਈ ਵਾਰੀ ਕਈ ਗਲਤ ਆਨਸਰ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਆਪਣੇ ਪਿੱਛੇ ਲਾ ਲੈਂਦੇ ਆ ਪਰ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਵੀ ਇਨੋਸੈਂਟ ਬੱਚੇ ਆ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਵਾਰਨਿੰਗ ਦੇ ਕੇ ਹੀ ਛੱਡਿਆ ਜਾਏਗਾ ਇਹਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਜਿਸ ਤਰ੍ਹਾਂ ਕਿ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਦੇਖਿਆ ਹੈ ਪੁਲਿਸ ਨੇ ਹੁਣ ਤੱਕ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦੀ ਮਦਰ, ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦੀ ਵਾਈਫ ਨਾਲ ਵੀ ਉਹਦੀ ਨਾਲ ਗੱਲਬਾਤ ਕੀਤੀ ਆ, ਪਰ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਕਿਸੇ ਤਰ੍ਹਾਂ ਦਾ ਹਰਾਸ ਨਹੀਂ ਕੀਤਾ ਗਿਆ। ਸਾਡੇ ਲੇਡੀ ਆਫੀਸਰਸ ਨੇ ਜਾ ਕੇ ਗੱਲ ਕੀਤੀ ਉੱਥੇ। ਹੁਣ ਤੱਕ ਜਿਹੜੇ 207 ਬੰਦੇ ਅਸੀਂ ਅਲੱਗ-ਅਲੱਗ ਜਗ੍ਹਾ ਦੇ ਉੱਤੇ ਇਸ ਕੇਸ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ, ਇਸ ਐਪੀਸੋਡ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਡਿਟੇਨ ਕੀਤੇ ਆ, ਸੈਕਸ਼ਨ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ, ਉਹਨਾਂ ਵਿੱਚੋਂ 30 ਲੋਕ ਐਸੇ ਆ, 30 ਬੰਦੇ ਐਸੇ ਆ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਕ੍ਰਿਮੀਨਲ ਕੇਸਿਸ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਜਿਨ੍ਹਾਂ ਦੀ ਗ੍ਰਿਫਤਾਰੀ ਪਾਈ ਜਾਏਗੀ। ਬਾਕੀ 177 ਜਿਹੜੇ ਇਹ 'ਚ ਡਿਟੇਨ ਕੀਤੇ ਆ, ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦੇ ਖਿਲਾਫ ਪ੍ਰੀਵੈਂਟਿਵ ਐਕਸ਼ਨ ਲਿਆ ਗਿਆ ਹੈ ਕਿ ਸਟੇਟ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਪੀਸ ਨੂੰ ਮੇਨਟੇਨ ਕਰਨ ਵਾਸਤੇ ਟੈਂਪਰੇਰੀ ਤੌਰ ਤੇ ਐਕਸ਼ਨ ਲਿਆ ਗਿਆ ਹੈ, ਔਰ ਉਹ 177 ਨੂੰ ਅਸੀਂ ਵੈਰੀਫਾਈ ਕਰਕੇ ਜਲਦੀ ਅਸੀਂ ਰਿਲੀਜ਼ ਕਰਾਂਗੇ। ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਲੰਬਾ ਟਾਈਮ ਲਈ ਅੰਦਰ ਨਹੀਂ ਰੱਖਿਆ ਜਾਊਗਾ। ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਜਿਹੜੇ 30 ਜਾਣੇ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਹਾਰਡਕੋਰ ਕ੍ਰਿਮੀਨਲ ਕੇਸਿਸ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਇਨਵੋਲਵ ਨੇ, ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦੀ ਹੀ ਗ੍ਰਿਫਤਾਰੀ ਪਏਗੀ ਕੇਸਿਸ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ। ਬਾਕੀ 177 ਜਿਹੜੇ ਆ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦੇ ਖਿਲਾਫ ਪ੍ਰੀਵੈਂਟਿਵ ਐਕਸ਼ਨ, ਜਿਸ ਤਰ੍ਹਾਂ ਮੈਂ ਦੱਸਿਆ, ਉਹ ਲਿਆ ਗਿਆ ਹੈ, ਔਰ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਲੰਬਾ ਟਾਈਮ ਲਈ ਨਹੀਂ ਰੱਖਿਆ ਜਾਏਗਾ। ਜਿਸ ਤਰ੍ਹਾਂ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਪਹਿਲਾਂ ਵੀ ਦੇਖਿਆ, ਜਦੋਂ ਆਰਪੀਜੀ ਅਟੈਕ ਹੋਇਆ ਸੀ ਸਰਿਆਲੀ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ, ਉਦੋਂ ਕੁਝ ਯੂਵੇਨਾਈਲ ਸੀਗੇ ਜਿਨ੍ਹਾਂ ਦਾ ਬਹੁਤ ਥੋੜਾ ਕਨੈਕਟਿੰਗ ਰੋਲ ਸੀ। ਕੋਈ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ ਇੱਕ ਜਗ੍ਹਾ ਤੋਂ ਦੂਜੀ ਜਗ੍ਹਾ ਕੁਝ ਟ੍ਰਾਂਸਫਰ ਕੀਤੀਆਂ ਸੀ, ਕੁਝ ਪੈਸੇ ਟ੍ਰਾਂਸਫਰ ਕੀਤੇ ਸੀ, ਪਰ ਪਤਾ ਨਹੀਂ ਸੀਗਾ, ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਵਾਰਨਿੰਗ ਦੇ ਕੇ ਛੱਡਿਆ ਗਿਆ ਸੀਗਾ। ਸੋ ਇਹ ਪੱਖ ਬਹੁਤ ਹੀ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਵਾ ਸੰਵੇਦਨਸ਼ੀਲਤਾ ਦੇ ਨਾਲ ਦੇਖਿਆ ਜਾ ਰਿਹਾ ਕਿ ਕਿਸੇ ਵੀ ਯੂਥ ਨੂੰ, ਕਿਸੇ ਵੀ ਪਬਲਿਕ ਦੇ ਬੰਦੇ ਨੂੰ ਇਸ ਐਕਸ਼ਨ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਅਨਨੈਸੈਸਰੀ ਹਰਾਸਮੈਂਟ ਨਾ ਹੋਵੇ। ਜਿੱਥੋਂ ਤੱਕ ਪ੍ਰਾਈਮ ਅਕਿਊਜ਼ ਦੀ ਗੱਲ ਆ, ਅੰਮ੍ਰਿਤਪਾਲ ਸਿੰਘ ਦੀ, ਉਹਦੇ ਤੇ ਕੁਝ ਅਪਡੇਟਸ ਹੈਗੇ ਆ। ਉਹਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਲੇਟੈਸਟ ਗੱਲ ਸਾਹਮਣੇ ਆਈ ਹੈ, ਉਹਦਾ ਰੂਟ ਲਗਾਤਾਰ ਪੁਲਿਸ, ਫਿਰ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਲਾਡੋਵਾਲ ਦੇ ਲਾਗੇ ਇੱਕ ਪੁਰਾਣਾ ਪੁਲ ਆ, ਪਰਲੇ ਪਾਸੇ ਇੱਕ ਪੁਰਾਣਾ ਪੁਲ ਹੈਗਾ ਲਾਡੋਵਾਲ ਦੇ ਲਾਗੇ, ਉਹ ਪੁਲ ਕ੍ਰਾਸ ਕਰਕੇ ਉਸ ਤੋਂ ਬਾਅਦ ਇੱਕ ਹਾਰਡੀਜ਼ਵਰਡ ਜਗ੍ਹਾ ਹੈ, ਉਹਦੇ ਲਾਗੋਂ ਰਾਤ ਦੇ ਟਾਈਮ ਦੇ ਉੱਤੇ ਪਹਿਲਾਂ ਉੱਥੋਂ ਆ ਕੇ ਈਵਨ ਲਾਡੋਵਾਲ ਰੇਲਵੇ ਸਟੇਸ਼ਨ ਦੇ ਆਸ-ਪਾਸ ਵੀ ਗਏ। ਫਿਰ ਇਹ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਨਾਲ ਇਹਦੇ ਐਸੋਸੀਏਟ ਸੀ ਤੇ ਉੱਥੋਂ ਇੱਕ ਆਟੋ ਲਿਆ ਗਿਆ, ਔਰ ਅਲਟੀਮੇਟਲੀ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਦੀ ਫਰਦਰ ਜਦੋਂ ਅਸੀਂ ਅੱਗੇ ਚੱਲੇ ਗਏ, ਟ੍ਰੇਲ ਕਰਦੇ ਗਏ, ਤਾਂ ਲਾਸਟ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਸੀ ਹਰਿਆਣਾ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਸਾਡੇ ਕੋਲ ਇੱਕ ਪੁੱਛਗਿੱਛ ਵੀ ਆਈ। ਗੁਰਪੇਜ ਭੇਜਾ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਫੜਿਆ ਸੀਗਾ, ਉਹਨੇ ਵੀ ਦੱਸਿਆ ਸੀਗਾ ਕਿ ਹਰਿਆਣਾ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਇੱਕ ਜਗ੍ਹਾ ਦੇ ਉੱਤੇ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ ਠਾਰ ਲਈ ਹੋ ਸਕਦੀ ਹੈ। ਔਰ ਉਸ ਕੇਸ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਫਿਰ ਇੱਕ ਲੇਡੀ ਆ ਬਲਜੀਤ ਕੌਰ, ਜਿਹਨੂੰ ਹਰਿਆਣਾ ਪੁਲਿਸ ਦੇ ਨਾਲ ਸਾਂਝੇ ਆਪਰੇਸ਼ਨ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਉਸ ਲੇਡੀ ਨੂੰ ਕਸਟਡੀ 'ਚ ਲਿਆ ਗਿਆ। ਉਹ ਲੇਡੀ ਦੀ ਪੁੱਛਗਿੱਛ ਤੋਂ ਅੱਗੇ ਫਰਦਰ ਇਹ ਗੱਲ ਚੱਲੀ ਕਿ ਜਿਹੜੀ 19 ਤਰੀਕ ਦੀ ਰਾਤ ਸੀਗੀ, ਉਸ ਰਾਤ ਨੂੰ ਇਹ ਉਹਦੇ ਘਰ ਰੁਕਿਆ ਕੁਰੂਕਸ਼ੇਤਰ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ। ਇਹ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਲੇਡੀ ਆ, ਇਹ ਪੱਪਲਪ੍ਰੀਤ ਨੂੰ ਪਿਛਲੇ 2.5 ਸਾਲ ਤੋਂ ਜਾਣਦੀ ਸੀਗੀ। ਬਲਜੀਤ ਕੌਰ ਆ ਲੇਡੀ ਦਾ ਨਾਮ, ਔਰ ਇਹਨੇ ਕਿਹਾ ਕਿ 2.5 ਸਾਲ ਤੋਂ ਪੱਪਲਪ੍ਰੀਤ ਇਹਦੇ ਟੱਚ ਸੀਗਾ। 19 ਤਰੀਕ ਨੂੰ ਕਰੀਬ ਰਾਤ ਨੂੰ ਉੱਥੇ ਪਹੁੰਚੇ ਆ, ਉੱਥੇ ਰਾਤ ਰੁਕੇ ਆ। ਉੱਥੋਂ ਦੀ ਵੀ ਇੱਕ CCTV ਫੁਟੇਜ ਸਾਨੂੰ ਮਿਲੀ ਆ, ਜਿਹਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਹੈ ਉਹਦੀ ਤੋਰ ਦਿਖ ਰਹੀ ਆ, ਅੰਬਰੇਲਾ ਲਿਆ ਹੋਇਆ ਹੈ, ਫੇਸ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਹੈ ਉਹ ਨਹੀਂ ਆ, ਬਟ ਚਾਲ ਤੋਂ ਪਤਾ ਲੱਗ ਰਿਹਾ ਹੈ ਕਿ ਉਹ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਹੈ ਅੰਮ੍ਰਿਤਪਾਲ ਸਿੰਘ ਹੈ। ਸੋ ਇਸ ਲੇਡੀ ਨੂੰ ਅਰੈਸਟ ਕੀਤਾ ਹੈ। ਲੇਡੀ ਨੂੰ ਅਰੈਸਟ ਕਰਨ ਤੋਂ ਬਾਅਦ ਹੁਣ ਫਰਦਰ ਅੱਗੇ
Okay, I think we can now come out. There doesn't seem to be any major announcement. Can we come out of this? Can we come out of this? All right, there. I was waiting eagerly to see if maybe there was a big announcement. What we can confirm to you from listening to that police press conference is that Amritpal Singh has escaped Punjab and he has then fled to Haryana, where a woman who gave him shelter has also been arrested. So no sign of him. It's now getting to be almost ridiculous. But there are larger questions at stake, and that's what we're here to discuss. We'll also play out for you our own ground report from Amritpal Singh's last hideout in Punjab. But let me get initial comments. Let me start with you, General Dhruv Katoch. You've been talking about how you don't believe this is only an ISI playbook. We now have this crossing the borders of Punjab, entering Haryana. We have this lady who you see on your screen arrested for allegedly harboring Amritpal Singh at her home in Kurukshetra. This is now moving from Punjab into other states. It's become a kind of ridiculous situation for all those who believe that the Punjab police secretly had Amritpal Singh. I think that rumor has been put to rest because now you're seeing arrests take place in Haryana. Meanwhile, tensions continue to rise with the United Kingdom. There have been fresh anxieties outside the High Commission in London. General Katoch, let me start with you, sir.
Thank you, Barkha. Barkha, it is quite obvious that he has, it's very difficult to catch one single person if he has got ground support at various levels. So to say that the police was inefficient or why couldn't they catch him, In my own experience, and we have faced many such situations in the army, in my service, it is possible. You see, terrorists get away. In this particular case, this individual has got away. So I understand that things happen. Preferably, they should not happen, but they happen. Now, once he has got away to Haryana, I think, of course, the Haryana police will take over in conjunction with the Punjab police, who will continue to be to cooperate with the Haryana police. But then let us understand that a person like Amritpal Singh and his organization, not the individual per se, because I've always felt that Amritpal Singh is not important, right? He is really a front for other people. Now, it is important to apprehend him so that we can get behind who the front is, because somebody has recruited him, and then we have to take this chain back. So there will be support bases in various parts of India. It could be anywhere, and from Haryana, he may actually go into any part of India. But the larger point which you talked about is the foreign hand, or the foreign support. I am absolutely convinced that that is still operative. You see, Pakistan is the one which holds the rifle and the trigger. But a huge amount of support to those agencies comes from Western intelligence agencies. I've got absolutely no doubts about that. They are concerned. They are concerned about India's rise. And it is not something which has happened for this year or in Narendra Modi's tenure. It is something which has been ongoing for a very long time. Any time when they see any particular action being taken by India, which will put India on the rise, they will try to stop it. Right from our nuclear program, which was stopped from Nehru's time onwards, from Shastri's time, and but the nuclear program continued. There were assassinations. People have been eliminated, but the program continued. So it is not something which is a new phenomenon, but it is there. And these Western democracies who appear to be our friends, yes, but so long as India remains at a middle peace level, they don't want India to break out and become a major competitor. And I think that is where the problem lies. Fortunately for India, that situation is over now. India has outgrown all these people. We have outgrown US. We are not worried about the sanctions. We are not worried about the UK any longer, or Germany or Canada. Canada will be a bit player very, very soon. So the India's growth story cannot be stopped now, and that is good news for India, regardless of what happens. But the growth story of Europe, I think that is going to be inflicted very, very severely, because Europe has become, in a real sense, a colony of the United States. So this is the way I look at it. These people, they will whip up they will whip up the Khalistani, the sentiment amongst the section of people. They will do it to the best of their ability. Fortunately for India, it has no traction in India. So the traction it gets is in Canada, it's in London, it may be some parts of Australia, one or two odd places in the United States, but it stops there. But I think we need to nip the evil in the bud and stop it. Barkha.
Let me get in Ambassador Malhotra and then come to Kapil, who's actually joining us from Belfast today. Ambassador Malhotra, in real terms, do you, it's not that, there haven't been points of disagreement between India and the United Kingdom. There's a whole colonial with many other things, but how do you look at the fact that there were fresh provocations right outside the High Commission in London, this time of course with the Metropolitan Police trying to contain the protesters, but even so, smoke bombs, ink bottles, all of this after the fact that India has demanded that these people be arrested who try to deface the Indian flag. Ambassador Malhotra.
Thank you, Barkha. Right now, our focus is on what is happening in the United Kingdom, in London, to be precise. But I think there is a pattern. This is not for the first time things like this are happening. Things have happened in San Francisco earlier. Canada has become, the hub, the kind of a place where these the pro-Khalistani, supporters of so-called Khalistan are moving around unfettered. They have all the support. They are even rising to occupy highest possible positions in the bureaucracy, in the government. They become the defense ministers of that country. And of course, there are umpteen number of reports which are targeting the democratic traditions of India. They are questioning the religious freedoms in India. And in all these countries, there are sections, there are segments of, there are lobbies, actually, to put it, for whom Hindus work as a vote bank, Sikhs work as a vote bank, Pakistanis, Muslims work as a vote bank. So you find in different situations, different people reacting to the situation differently.
What do
In
you think is
India,
happening here? What do you think is happening here, sir?
what is happening here is, I think the London police in any case is notorious for having sort of soft corner for the Pakistanis, and there have been many cases in the past also when they have ignored whenever the Hindu sentiments have been hurt, and they have more than once demonstrated their double standards. And I'm surprised that the government of UK, I would have expected a much quicker reaction from the government of UK, because they should understand our sensitivities, and they should also look at the broad canvas of the relationship that already exists, and the intentions of the stated intentions of the two countries to take it further. So they should realize that, these kind of incidents cannot but have an impact on the overall, situation, the overall, relationship. Although, as I said, the canvas is so broad that one particular incident cannot be allowed to take the entire relationship to
Yeah,
hostage. But
yeah,
yet, having said that, this is not just something which can be ignored. And we have done some messaging by removing the barricades from the UK High Commission here, or and of course we are very aggressively taking it through the diplomatic channels. And this is a point we have to tell them in
yeah.
so many words through diplomatic channels, of course, that this is an area where we expect much more, from their side, which
Yeah.
we are talking about
Let
countering
let
terrorism
yeah.
collectively. This is also a sort of terrorist activity. So there's no point
Let
in
me
talking.
just Yeah, sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you, but I was just going to make the point that traveling through Punjab, I see very, very little support for Amritpal Singh. I'm in Bhagat Singh's ancestral village, Shahid Bhagat Singh's ancestral village right now, and a number of people said they'd never even heard of this Amritpal Singh till a few months ago, and he did indeed appear from out of the cold. We can now confirm to you the police has officially said that Amritpal Singh has escaped Punjab and gone into Haryana. I see Tavleen Singh, veteran journalist and author who covered the Punjab sort of years in the 1980s, like no one else, joining us. She initially on this program set the cat among the pigeons by suggesting that the government talk to Amritpal, arrest him, and talk to him. Does she still think that? We'll ask her that in a moment. Kapil, let's bring you in. You're in the United Kingdom and you are seeing what's happening. This is a two-front story. There's the conversation taking place within Punjab, questions for the police, questions about extremism being attempted to be revived again in Punjab. And there's what's happening with the UK. And a number of Indians believe that Canada, the United Kingdom, for years now have treated these kind of radicals among the Khalistanis with a soft hand. What do you think, Kapil? And just unmute yourself. You're on mute at your end.
Hi, Barkha. First of all, may I pay tribute to the diplomatic staff at India's High Commission in London. I was there recently to get a passport, and they are phenomenally professional and really terrific staff. And India's diplomats across the world are, I think, the best of India. And they have one of the things they told me in the past is that the embassy, the High Commission building, is very exposed. It's on a main road. It's very difficult to protect the building itself. There are no barricades. It's very difficult to barricade the building, so it's very vulnerable, and people can assemble outside it and attack it. And of course, the United Kingdom, Britain has to permit people to protest. That's their democratic right. It's a balancing act between the right to protest and policing and protecting the diplomatic staff. And India has to take its own measures to protect the diplomatic staff and its properties abroad. Now, as far as the Khalistan issue itself is concerned, I do not believe that there is a design to stamp on India, to stop India from rising. I don't believe that, and I don't think the Khalistanis, particularly supporters of Khalistan, really enjoy massive support. In the UK, it's a very marginal issue. Certainly in Canada, it is they have political clout there, but in the UK, it's not as yet such an important topic. What I've realized though, Barkha, what I've seen recently is India has been discredited, and often for good reason, because of India's own majoritarian lurch under the reign of Prime Minister Modi, who's a Hindu nationalist, and India is a secular state. So when you privilege one set of citizens over the other in a pluralistic society, people are bound to ask you, what is the point of is everyone equal in this country, or certain people have more rights than others? Are they natural citizens of the state? That is a valid argument. What that doesn't then sanctify is opportunists and charlatans who cite Modi to try and balkanize India. And what you're seeing right now is a lot of people using the regression of democracy in India, the recession of democracy in India, and the rise of Hindu nationalism in India to actually advance their own cause, which is to
But
actually.
can I say something there? You make
Yes.
the point that the Hindu nationalism debate cannot be used as an excuse to balkanize India. But in terms of identity politics, the United Kingdom itself right now has been roundly criticized for the policy it's applying to refugees that are coming in on boats. Suella Braverman is in the news for all the wrong reasons every day. But you do not see India, for example, pronouncing judgment on the quality of democracy or on the quality of liberal values in the United Kingdom. And I think Indians are somewhat fed up of everybody in the world having an opinion on the quality, good, bad, ugly of our democracy. I think the point that a lot of Indians want to make is, let us resolve this for ourselves, because we aren't sitting in judgment and pronouncing judgments on the quality of your democracy. So, there's an essential asymmetry of power in the global commentary that I think Indians are getting enraged by, in addition to this whole sort of Khalistan soft hand. So I just want a very quick response to that, and then I want to go to Tavleen and Colonel Singh.
I'm in agreement with you. No nation should lecture another nation. What has happened is that minorities within these countries, in Canada, America, Britain, have mobilized to actually cite Modi to advance their own agenda, which is a separatist agenda. So they will speak the vocabulary of human rights to actually push forward a very inhumane cause. There couldn't be a more morally destitute cause than Khalistan, in my opinion. It's a theocratic idea, and I genuinely believe that nothing that Modi does or the nature of the BJP excuses Amritpal Singh's dream to build a theocracy in Punjab. I have no time for that. Anyone who tries to advance that argument is not exactly a champion of human rights, and that is something I think is becoming increasingly evident. This is a very clarifying moment for all of us, I think, and it's absolutely legitimate, reasonable, fine to criticize the failures of a failure of any nation to uphold basic human decencies, but you cannot cite those failures to call for the balkanization of that country. And anyone who does that is not a friend of India, is not a friend of, frankly, is not a friend of humanity or human rights.
Right. So I'm sure your opinions on the Modi government will elicit strong responses from our guests. But I think the bottom line, as you said, is that irrespective of what people's political affiliations may be, I know that every Indian was outraged at what happened in London, in San Francisco, in Canada, across political affiliations, pro or anti the Modi government. Tavleen, I want to bring you in on Amritpal Singh. A couple of days ago on this program, you said, let's not make the mistake of the 80s. Let's arrest this guy and talk to him. One, we haven't arrested him. He's now gone to Haryana, according to the Punjab police. Two, we were at the Gurdwara where he hid. We were told by eyewitnesses there that he held the Granthi at gunpoint. He took away the Granthi's phone so that the Granthi couldn't alert anybody. He took away the Granthi's son's clothes so that he could move from a blue turban to a pink turban and escape. And the Granthi was so terrified he didn't tell anyone for days till the CCTV camera footage actually came out, and the rest, as they say, is now well known. Do you still believe that this is a man who should be spoken to? A number of people in Punjab are also saying no Sikh actually runs away. This is a charlatan. Why should we be talking to a charlatan? What do you think, Tabi?
The whole thing, in my view, has been very badly handled, right? I actually believe that Amritpal Singh is someone has propped him up from somewhere. I'm not sure where, but exactly like Pindrawali was propped up by people that we don't want to go into the details of. Where did this guy come from? And why suddenly is the media, the whole of the media, making him into a hero? Now, there's one point that I couldn't make last time, which I really would like to make this time. Do you know there has never been support in Punjab for Khalistan? There is support in Canada and in some parts of the United States and maybe in England. In Punjab, after the worst violence against the Sikhs in Delhi, nobody asked for Khalistan. In Punjab, after Blue Star, there were villagers walking towards the Gurdwara to save the Gurdwara. It had nothing to do with Khalistan. So, there's been a lot of rubbish. And, I see the media going on about these Khalistani thugs. So you're really doing the same mistake, which is you're putting every Sikh into the dock to say, listen, we're not really Khalistanis. So, what are we making this fuss about? The police needs to really re-examine what they did. This man's father said, he was here last night. Why didn't you arrest him from here? Why this kind of dramatic allowing him to go out in a big procession and making a drama about it, and then you arrest everybody except him? There's something very odd, very murky about what's going on in Punjab, and that is what is more worrying than Amritpal Singh being arrested or not.
What about what's happening between India and the United Kingdom? A couple of days ago, you said, we shouldn't get so upset. But when the flag was defaced, and then again, despite India's outrage, you saw these Khalistani, and this time I'm using the word Khalistanis because they're self-declared
They are
Khalistanis.
Khalistanis.
They're standing, yeah, they are
Yeah.
Khalistanis outside the High Commission. What did you feel as an Indian? Do you feel the United Kingdom is sort of taking this seriously enough?
Well, I frankly don't care what the United Kingdom does or does not do. It's a small group of lunatic, fanatic Sikhs. Put them away if you want to, do whatever you want. What they did was extremely offensive, very wrong. It's like Deep Sidhu, who, by the way, was the big, before, what's his name, Amritpal Singh, there was Deep Sidhu. Deep Sidhu goes onto the Red Fort and puts up the Nishan Sahib, not the Khalistani flag, the Nishan Sahib of the Sikhs. He puts it up there. He gets bail, I think, in days or hours. Why? How does he get away with it? You have Umar Khalid in jail for 2 years under these laws. So what is going on? Who was Deep Sidhu? Who was behind him? Why was it so easy for the Home Ministry to decide that he deserved bail? I mean, he did something much more offensive than a lot of people who haven't been given any chance of bail. So, we all need to really think about what is seriously going on. Is somebody doing this so that the 24 election can once more be about, the great Hindu Rashtra being attacked by these mad Sikhs or whatever? Whatever's going on is wrong. And, we've had no transparency from the Home Minister or the government of Punjab on what is really going on. So, and the media has, I'm afraid, been totally reckless in its, in accepting it's press release journalism that we see. Oh, he has ISI links. Did any reporter investigate that? No, it was given to you in a police briefing. Oh, yes, this is what he does. And it's all.
But he is just to say, I don't know about his ISI links, but the ISI has long backed Khalistan. We know that. I have personally seen Babar.
I want to interrupt you.
I have seen Babar Khalsa. I've seen Babar Khalsa terrorists in Punjab roaming free in the lobbies of Lahore and Islamabad's 5-star hotels.
All right. Yeah. Can I tell you something? Pakistan, the last time round, exploited a situation that was already there. They didn't start it. This is the mistake that we make. I mean, of course, they wanted to start it, but they can only create real trouble if the Sikhs in Punjab want Khalistan, which they don't. What they do want is for the drugs that come across the border that have made almost every other Jat Sikh boy ineligible for the army or the police because he's become a junkie. Why are we not discussing that? That is the real harm that Pakistan has done.
Okay. I'm sure once again your comments will provoke extreme reactions. Let me actually bring in Colonel Singh, and I bring this in as the police has told reporters, which Tavleen Singh will say we don't have to take at face value, but one of our jobs as a journalist is also to keep reporting what the police is saying as attributed to them. Amritpal Singh's wife, Karandeep Kaur, they are now saying they're examining whether she had previous links with the Babar Khalsa that I just named as a terrorist organization. She is an NRI, but she used to be UK based. They married recently. Colonel KJ Singh, let me bring you in for your thoughts and then go back to General Katoch and Ambassador Malhotra and Kapil. Colonel Singh, do go ahead.
Thank you, Barkha. Firstly, I totally and wholeheartedly agree with Tavleen Singh. Right? What is happening about Amritpal, it is exotic. All right? It is impossible that with such a large force, right, such a big show was made, and he just manages to vanish into thin air. Why couldn't the police have just gone and just captured him early morning while he was still in the house? They knew he was in the house. Right? Who is Amritpal is the million-dollar question. Why was he permitted to enter the country? I see the parallels exactly with Bhindranwale. We all know, like Tavleen says, that Bhindranwale was caught by somebody, and we know who that somebody was. There was Zail Singh, there was Bhutta Singh, and I would not like to name others. How does Amritpal enter the country, and for 6 months he has a free run? Right? Nobody says anything to him. And the dossier about Amritpal is given to the Punjab police. Just, I believe, 2-3 days ago. Right? Whose man is Amritpal? And also, he has taken over the organization from Waris Punjab Day, which was created by Deep Sidhu. Who was Deep Sidhu? He was the election agent of the BJP MP Sunny Deol from Gurdaspur. And then, as far as the Kisan agitation is concerned, Tavleen Singh was hesitant to say this, what I've said just now, right? But everybody knows it, right? The Kisan agitation is concerned. The route of the Kisan agitation, that parade which took place in Delhi, it was discussed with the police 3 days before, and the route was agreed to. Now, every exit from that route was barricaded. Surprisingly, when Deep Sidhu's Jatha comes in, that barricade is opened and is permitted to go onto the ring road. It takes good 20-25 minutes or maybe even longer for him to reach Red Fort. Nobody intercepts him in between. And now this man, after Dalip Sidhu died, this man comes out of the blue, a clean-shaven young man, suddenly grows a beard and all, and he lands up here, nobody stops him. And the entire community, entire Punjab, has absolutely no traction, none whatsoever about Khalistan. The only thing which I disagree with Tavleen is, which he said yesterday, or day before yesterday, that we don't talk to him at all. There is no need to talk to him. Right? He should not be handled with kid gloves. He's a nobody. He has no traction at all in Punjab. And about England and Canada and all, I believe the ambassador can say much more. I'm not qualified. But yet, what I don't agree with the ambassador is two sentiments are hurt. There are no Hindu sentiments. There are no Muslim sentiments. There's no Sikh sentiments. There are only Indian sentiments. Why do we talk this Hindu sentiment, Sikh sentiment, Muslim sentiment? At the end of the day, we are just Indians. We are one. And what is happening, this religious hatred being spread in the country, divisiveness and sectarianism, is definitely not on. And we all know what's happening and who's doing it.
Okay.
Leaders,
okay, so lots of questions.
Leaders unite.
Sorry, sir. That is the
Oh.
point, that this is the point where you need politics to not flirt with extremism. But you've already seen the Akalis, for instance, making much of the fact that they're going to provide legal assistance to those who've been arrested. And I just want to say that I was talking to a very well-known professor here, and he made the point that the moderate space in Punjab politics has been diminishing, and that's part of the problem. And that is why extremist nobodies like Amritpal Singh are able to fill that vacuum, as it were. Now, I just want to bring in General Katoch, and then I want to play out. I take Tavleen's point that Amritpal, there's no support, and I agree. I've been here for a week. I've not met anybody who's really stood up in favor of him. Many people didn't even know who he was till some days ago, General Katoch. But the fact is that the kind of comments he's made, his trivial use of the, very casual use of the word genocide, his sort of outrageously. Maybe rhetorical, but outrageously anti-India comments, his use, as it were, of a private militia name for himself and his aides, the Anandpur Khalsa Fauj, AKF, and those pictures you're seeing are of his wife, Kirandeep Kaur, who's now being investigated for links to the Babar Khalsa. Is all of this to be completely ignored? That this man comes in from Dubai, he goes to Georgia, then he arrives here, and he models himself on Bhindranwale, down to how he wears his turban, down to how he wears his kurta. Maybe he isn't gaining traction, but does that make him any less worrying from a national security point of view? General Katoch.
Barkha, I think, as an individual, this man, as I have stated earlier, is irrelevant. He's a nobody. He's a two-bit player. But the problem is he's been supported by some particular organization, and that organization remains a worry, because that organization, and regardless of the fact whether the fellow panelists agree with me or not, I know it for a fact. I'm not going to talk about how I know it. They are being supported by various agencies, right? And some of those agencies are based in the West. And of course, Pakistan is always the handyman, the one to do it. Now, as far as this chap, I'm forgetting his name once again, Amritpal is concerned, we don't need to talk to him, but he needs to be interrogated. There are two different issues. He needs to be apprehended, he needs to be interrogated, and we need to find out who are the fellows who are behind him. And then we have to go after those people. In your earlier program, I had also made a statement. We need to go after the financial links. Where is the money coming from? We've spoken of the farmers' agitation. Where did 10 to 20 crore rupees for every day for about a year come from? For the agitation against the CAA, where do those crores of rupees every day come from? Right? Now, it's very easy to say, we talk of, Hindu nationalism. Now, Mr. Comrade will never talk of Christian nationalism. There's a white Christian government in the United States and Britain. That is not white Christian nationalism. No. Hindu nationalism. Where does this term come from? Where has been the discrimination against any community in India? You look at the track of the last 8 to 10 years, look at the financial benefits which people have received. There is nothing. Everybody gets the same amount. Now, it is very easy for people to whip up sentiments because India is doing well. And there are people like, based abroad who don't like that idea. They've got that set of exclusive thing that, okay, I am here, I am well settled in Britain, I am the educated chap, I am the voice, I'm an author, I know everything. And you buggers, you remain where you are as serfs of the Brits. Now, as I told you last time, those days are over. India is an equal opportunity country for all religions, all races, all ethnicities. And it is being practiced now. Earlier, there were certain specific privileges given to certain youths. The Congress philosophy, and I'm going to make it very clear, to win the elections was divide the Hindu vote and get the Muslim vote. Now, please ask any Muslim in India. They will tell you the same thing. It was Mr. Antule, when he was the chief minister, and I'm going to make this as a public statement, when he was the chief minister, who used to openly encourage riots between the Hindus and the Muslims. And these are recorded evidences. Now, why did he do that? It was simply to divide the Hindu vote and to get the Muslim vote, to put the fear of Muslims. And this is what Mr. Komoredi is doing. Once again, and so is Tavleen. Okay. You put the fear of God into the Muslims. Listen, something's going to happen to you, you'll be killed. Come on, it's a different country. Nobody's hurting you.
Okay.
Who has been, you see,
let me
report the terrorism.
Let me allow them to respond. Let me allow them to respond.
Yeah.
Let me allow.
Tavleen has to
Yeah.
leave.
Okay.
Tavleen has
Okay.
to leave. So, but I want to make a point. I want to
Okay.
make 2 points. One
Yeah.
is, do you know how much money there is in the gurdwaras? Do you know where all the money that comes to finance politics in Punjab comes from? The gurdwaras are very rich. The Akali Dal has used that money for a long time. And when you get this kind of panthic leader emerge, the gurdwaras become the source of money. Secondly, General Saab, if you were Muslim in the past 8 years in India, you would be a terrified creature. I don't know a single Muslim in India who isn't terrified. Let me tell you, they're killed if they eat meat. I mean, half their businesses have been closed down. They have been targeted. So please let's not pretend that this sweet, great country of ours does not have these problems. We do. And I want
Okay.
to make the point that this Amritpal Singh actually said, he said, if you can discuss Hindu Rashtra, you can discuss Khalistan. So what you've led to, because of this very majoritarian atmosphere, is the creation of all this. We need to be
Okay.
careful because the next one's going to be Muslim. Okay, Barkha, I have to go.
Okay, okay. We let General Katoch respond, then Kapil, then Ambassador Malhotra. Thank you, Tavleen. I wish you could stay for longer. I'm sure General Katoch wants to respond to you, but I'll let him respond immediately. Go ahead, General Katoch, briefly. Kapil's waiting to respond to what you raised.
I'll be very
General
happy if Tavleen actually gives out all her, the statements which she's made. Please prove it. I'll support her. Please prove her statements. And then, she won't be able to prove it. I have met millions of Muslims. Don't talk about one. None of them are afraid. I don't know which Muslims she's meeting. She's meeting the Muslims in Pakistan, possibly. They are the ones who are afraid, not the Indian Muslims.
Okay. Can I try and steer this? Can I try and steer?
Like the uses of the language when you were giving your hybrid. It's just not done. I don't know. Maybe I'm a very old-fashioned man. All right. But that kind of a language.
I have no problem with anybody else's opinion. You have your opinion, it's okay.
That's all right.
It's fine with me.
I'm just talking about the language which you use.
No, it's all right. You have your views.
Can I try and?
It's okay.
Can I try and please think I'm in a remote village and I can barely hear all of you, so I'm really trying to keep pace with what's happening. I want to try and steer it back to what we were talking about. There can be another program on where we are with our nationalism. What is Hindu nationalism? What is Christian nationalism? I should allow Kapil a brief response, and let me try and add a little bit of my own question to it. I guess there are cliches in which Indians feel described, or singularities, in the way the West is not looked at, right? And we don't look at America only through the prism of violence against the African American community or anti-abortion principles or gun violence. We look at America as several things all at once. We look at the United Kingdom as several things all at once. I think Indians feel that we should also be looked at with all our multitudinous truths, as it were. That's just a question I'm adding. But let's try and come back to where we are, right? You say that, this kind of way of looking at the Modi government in certain sections of sort of Western opinion is becoming a kind of excuse to condone and endorse things that should never be condoned and endorsed. So go ahead, Kapil, and then I do want to play out a ground report of mine. Go ahead, Kapil.
My brain's all over the place after that tirade from the gentleman.
Yes.
He's met millions of Muslims. I've only met about maybe 1,000 in my lifetime. He's met millions. He's a remarkable man. What can I say? And Muslims are treated really wonderfully in India. And Muslims don't live in fear. And India practices equal citizenship, equality under Modi. It's wonderful. He lives in cloud cuckoo land, and I have no response to him. I don't care what Britain and Canada and America think about India. I never have. I'm a citizen of India. I'm a very proud citizen of India. I care about what my country does. I care about how my country treats its citizens. I care about how my country behaves. And I don't think Brits and Americans and Canadians care about what Indians think about them. And I often worry that we have such a chip on our shoulder that we always worry about what others are saying about us. What happened in so many ways, what happened in the United Kingdom, what happened on the streets of London outside the Indian High Commission could be treated as a minor act of nuisance, and we could have beefed up our security. We didn't have to give these clowns, these lunatics who are desperate for attention, any attention. We could have treated them as the marginal creatures that they are, as the worthless human beings that they are, creatures of the gutter. If I'll go so far as to call them creatures of the gutter, but we treat them as if they are a threat to India. No, the threat to India are enemies of Indian pluralism, and a man like Amritpal Singh, the fact that he's managed to go from anonymity to this monster claiming the attention of all of us bespeaks the failure of the government, of the union government, to actually do something. We are, if indeed all these foreign organizations are backing him, that all that confirms is that the union government is a total failure. It couldn't stop this man from coming into the country. We need a new government, and I hope we get one.
Okay. This conversation has gone in many, many different directions. Obviously, the subject evokes very passionate opinions. Ambassador Malhotra, if I may bring you in, whose responsibility is this? Like I said, there are two conversations: what's happening domestically, what's happening internationally. And I think a lot of Indians are prepared to have a very different conversation at home than they are prepared to have when someone outside is telling us what to do and what not to do. You've seen the passions in this program. Your thoughts, and the point was made, and even I was going to say that to you. You said Hindu sentiments are treated in a certain way. I think all Indians were outraged across religions, across political affiliations, when what happened with our flag happened in London. So why don't we talk about it in those terms?
Barkha, I think Colonel Singh also referred to the sentiment parts, and I think I was not clear in what I wanted to say. Probably there was a communication problem. I was not referring to Hindu sentiments, Sikh sentiments, or Muslim sentiments. What I was saying was that there are Hindus living abroad, there are Muslims living abroad, there are Sikhs living abroad, and they are used and exploited by the local politicians as their vote banks, and they appease them according to their need and what the occasional demands. That was in response to your query as to why there has been a lackluster response from the local authorities to this kind of an agitation, or why they have been slow. So it was in that context. I'm also first an Indian,
Okay.
then a Hindu, then a Punjabi. So I hope I have clarified myself. Now,
Sure. Go ahead. Yeah.
yeah. So your question is, if you look at the larger issues, the larger issue is that whether we like it or not, we don't know who's the source of propping up all this, pro-Khalistani sentiments once again. It is quite apparent that an attempt is being made by someone somewhere from within the country or from outside the country to create this kind of a troubled situation in our country. So the onus of nipping it in the bud lies on the government of India, and we should not allow this situation to get out of hands. This is one side. Domestically, what we can do about it. As far as what is happening abroad, there are things which are under our control only to a limited extent. We can influence the foreign governments. We can, explain to them the consequences. We can tell them our sensitivities. We can tell them the consequences of, from the past experience, and tell them that even though the contours of our relationship is very broad, and this issue should not impact, but a time may come that we may have to think twice about moving further. We have made this clear to Pakistan that unless there is a stop to terrorism, we will not talk. We have told
Yeah.
even China, with whom we had enormous economic relationships, that unless there is a peace and tranquility at the borders, we are not going to have any talks in other
Yeah.
areas. So let our partners in Europe, and let me say, they need us today more than what we need them. They should also, it should be conveyed to them. It's mutual, it's two-sided. They need a market like India. Their economy is
Sure.
sagging. They need a country like India. Our defense needs are
Yeah.
increasing. We are the biggest, buyers of the defense.
No, no, no,
Defense sector.
absolutely, absolutely. I think the point has been made again and again that the India of maybe 20 years ago is not there anymore, and I think that point has to be underscored and underlined again and again. Colonel Singh, briefly, I saw Kapil's hand go up, and I really do have to start taking last comments. So, Colonel Singh, please, your thoughts. Let's come back to this man, Amritpal Singh. Non-entity, yes, but also challenging the authority right now or the efficiency of law and order if he's actually fled to Haryana. Though General Katoch made the point that sometimes one man, hunting for one man can be tougher than hunting for a group.
No, I don't agree with this. He just cannot vanish into thin air. He is no big deal. He has no traction with the general public in Punjab and within the Sikh community, right? And for him to suddenly, for 6 days, you can't catch him. General Katoch saying maybe he's more experienced than I am. He holds a much higher rank, right? And then it is possible, yes, it is possible for an odd terrorist to disappear like this. But here is a well-known person, right? And he just cannot vanish like this, right? And where did he come from? Somebody has to dig into this. Who brought him here? And why no action was taken against him for nearly 6 long months, right? And he went to that Gurdwara, frankly, with that Guru Granth Sahib hiding under the, taking the Guru Granth Sahib with him. That is what offended the entire Sikh community, right? I'm not a practicing Sikh, so, but I know, right, with all my colleagues there, all my relatives there, they were very offended with that. And somebody who's not very well versed with Sikhism is obviously behind him. And one last word I would say, anybody who spreads religious hatred, divisiveness, and sectarianism cannot call himself a nationalist. Nationalists unite, anti-nationalists divide. It's as simple as that. We are nothing. All of us are Indians. Indians first and Indians last.
Yeah. No, of course. There are no two ways about that. Kapil, very briefly, I do want to take you to the Gurdwara where Amritpal Singh hid, but very briefly, Kapil, yes.
Barkha, just to bring this back to Amritpal Singh, he often talks about Article 25 of the Indian Constitution subsuming Sikhism into Hinduism. It's very important to respond to that canon. Article 25 actually goes out of its way to facilitate the expression of Sikhism. Sikhs are allowed to carry the dagger into public spaces. So the reasonable expectation of non-Sikhs for safety is subordinated to the Sikh right to practice their faith. So it's very important to push back against this lie. He may be a nobody today, but the idea he represents could catch on if Punjabis, when they look beyond Punjab, see that certain religious people, members of certain communities are privileged, but others aren't. So that's something every Indian needs to work.
I think that's a great point. Article 25.
The final thought is that the reason Khalistan doesn't succeed, the idea of Khalistan hasn't succeeded, is because an overwhelming majority of Sikhs are against the idea. They are patriotically committed to India, and Amritpal Singh cannot change that.
I just wanted to add one point to that. I saw Ambassador Malhotra raising his phone for something, but Amritpal Singh's lawyer quoted the Indian Constitution when he filed a petition, a habeas corpus petition. And when I went to meet him, and I said, "What are you expecting out of this? Your client is on the run." And he said, "This is the most important Indian constitutional right." And I wanted to point to him the irony of invoking the Indian Constitution to seek justice for this client of his who is patently sort of lashing out against India. Ambassador Malhotra, before I play out a report from the Gurdwara where Amritpal Singh hid, you were holding up something, and I think you wanted to make a point. Were you holding up something, Ambassador Malhotra?
No, I'm very sorry, Barkha. This was some phone call, and I was trying to,
I thought maybe you had some khufia cover about Amritpal Singh.
The way you reacted, I thought I have.
Yeah. Okay.
Sorry
Before we take last comments from all of you, just a small excerpt. I have a longer report up on our platform. Anyone can watch it when you have time. A small excerpt from the Gurdwara where Amritpal Singh hid. The Granthi let him in. This is the place where he look at the impunity of this man, where he ate food, he changed his turban, he snatched away the phone of the Granthi so that Granthi couldn't alert anybody. He took the clothes of the Granthi's son. And in the village, people were really scared. The Granthi and his wife had locked themselves up in. But we got the Lambardar of the village who met with the Granthi to tell us exactly what happened. This is just a small excerpt from that conversation. Listen in and you'll find it fascinating. पीछे मैं आपको थोड़ा गांव का ग्लिम्स दिखाती हूँ. चुपचाप पूरा सन्नाटा है. यहाँ मीडिया तो बहुत आई ढूंढने के लिए, देखने के लिए कि भाई क्या हुआ इस गुरुद्वारे में. और जैसे कि अभी हमें भूपिंदर जी बता रहे हैं, वो उन्होंने यहाँ बैठ के कपड़े भी, पोशाक भी मांगे. ये इसलिए जरूरी है क्योंकि आपने भी वो सीसीटीवी फुटेज देखा होगा. एक वीडियो में अमृतपाल सिंह जी नीली पगड़ी पहने हैं, दूसरी में उनकी पगड़ी का रंग बदल जाता है. आगे बताइए फिर क्या हुआ.
तो उन्होंने पोशाक दिया, उन्होंने पोशाक उन्होंने पहना. उसके बाद उन्होंने खाने का भी पूछा, उन्होंने खाना भी खाया यहाँ पर. ठीक है.
और उनको कोई आइडिया नहीं था कि ये अमृतपाल सिंह है.
उसके बाद उनको पता चल गया कि ये अमृतपाल हैं.
अच्छा.
तो पहले नहीं उनको पता चला भी कैसे आए, क्यों आए हैं. तो उसके बाद वो पोशाक लेके जो है उनका जो लड़का है उसका पगड़ी भी ले गए, उसका चश्मा भी पड़ा था वो भी ले गए.
ग्रंथी साहब के चश्मे?
लड़के के ग्रंथी साहब के लड़के का पोशाक था.
अच्छा.
और उनके ही जो ये टर्बन थी, ये पगड़ी थी. और ये चश्मा वगैरह उसका था.
अच्छा.
हाँ जी.
फिर जब उनको पता लगा कि ये अमृतपाल सिंह है तो वो कुछ
नहीं, वो बाबा जी तो घबरा गए.
और उनके पास वेपन्स तो थे ना?
वेपन्स थे, बाबा जी बोलते हैं कि वेपन थे उनके पास. तो नहीं, वो वैसे तो अच्छी बातचीत चली बाबा जी, मगर बाबा जी घबरा गए थे.
बिल्कुल, कोई भी घबराएगा. कोई आदमी बंदूक के साथ आ जाए तो कोई भी.
उन्होंने बाबा जी बोलते कि आते ही मेरा फोन ले लिया था. तो फोन लेने से बाद वो जब गए हैं, इस तरफ गए हैं, इधर आगे पीछे की तरफ जो इधर संदीप हमारे एक लड़का था जिसकी डेथ हो गई थी, आपको मालूम होगा पीछे. उसका मर्डर हो गया था. उसका स्टैचू लगा हुआ है.
मैंने स्टैचू देखा.
उसके पास ही ये सारा कुछ उधर कैमरे लगे हुए हैं. वो इस तरफ गए हैं. वो इस तरफ जाने के बाद बाबा जी भी पीछे जाते हैं. फिर बाद में उनको फोन दिया जाता है और बाबा जी बोलते हैं कि किसी को बताना नहीं. तो बाबा जी ने हमको कल सुबह बताया
क्योंकि वो बहुत डरे हुए थे.
कल रात को पूछा, बाबा जी बोलते मैं डर ही बहुत ज़्यादा गया था, मेरे को ये था कि पता नहीं क्या हो जाएगा, इसलिए उन्होंने किसी गांव वाले को नहीं बताया.
तो फिर बात आगे निकली कैसे? जब सीसीटीवी की फुटेज लीक हुई तब आपने अपना गांव पहचाना?
हाँ जी. तकरीबन 11-12 बजे हम इधर काम चल रहा था, सीवरेज का, इधर घूम रहे थे. लोगों ने बोला कि उधर पुलिस बहुत ज़्यादा आई हुई है, बाबा जी से पूछताछ कर रही है. तो पता चला कि वो सीसीटीवी जो थे वो उसको खोज रहे थे. तो जब उन्होंने सीसीटीवी को देखा तो उसमें वो सब फोटो वगैरह जो भी वीडियो बने हुए थे.
Okay, so you were able to see a snip of that conversation. The Gurdwara there is where this man stays for 45 minutes. Let me start taking last comments. I'll start with you, Colonel Singh. When we say he's a non-entity, how does he manage to go into a Gurdwara, 4 of his aides holding guns? One of those gunmen has now been arrested. He's able to change clothes. It's like a Hindi movie. It's bizarre at one level. Colonel Singh, last thoughts?
Yeah. You see, it's very simple. Anybody can have guns with him in Punjab these days, right? Or I don't know, license guns or unlicensed guns. He was carrying. You enter a Gurdwara, 4 or 5 people along with that. The Granthi gets not only scared, he gets terrified. So he does his bidding, right? And he wanted to change his attire or whatever it is, change his clothes so that he's not recognized. I think this is all, it's beyond me. It's all quixotic. That's all I'll say.
Yeah. Ambassador Malhotra, do you see this issue dying down with the United Kingdom, or do you think we're not at that point yet?
No, I think it would be the wisdom should prevail upon the government of UK. They must realize the seriousness of this, and they can't, allow the relationship between the two countries go down the drain. There are important issues that we are negotiating. There is a free trade area agreement. There are agreement on investment. There are many, many more things which are being talked about. There is a migration and mobility agreement. Hundreds of things are on our this thing, and UK is here will soon be here as a part of the G20 also. So I think sooner the better. They should realize, and I'm sure they should be able to control the situation. And but this all the Western world, America, Canada, they stretch their own definitions of human rights, freedom to speak, and there have been numerous reports distorting the situation in India. And we have also learned to ignore all this stuff to the extent possible, but we of course respond, and we kind of we give the appropriate response. But when something like this happens, no, I'm not against any demonstration, protest, so long as they are peaceful. You have a cause to propound, do it. But vandalism, right to
Yeah,
protest and right to speak, is different from vandalism. You can't go ahead, go and indulge into vandalism in the name of freedom
absolutely.
of speech.
Absolutely.
So
Absolutely. And let's
at
be
that
very clear
the
that,
host,
yeah,
the host government should also understand that they can allow it thus
absolutely.
far and no further.
Yeah, I think this is an important point you raise, Kapil. For example, the way internet shutdowns are understood in the West, it's almost as if the internet shutdown is more important than the secessionist that the police is battling. I also wanted to make the point that, in fairness to the police, which right now is on the defensive, that at times when the police has used force in the past, they've been roundly criticized, and this time they had orders not to use force on this man. So there are all kinds of things being handled here. Kapil, your last thoughts?
It's mystifying that they were instructed not to use force. I just want to take, in the 80s, Barkha, in the 70s and 80s, there were in the 70s, there were partisan calculations by certain individuals that led to the rise of Bhindranwale. And I think I fear there are similar partisan calculations here that has allowed this man to rise and to flee. And I think the people putting the next election ahead of India's safety and security should think very hard. The protest in outside India's High Commission by 10 lunatics doesn't worry me at all. But the manner in which this man has been allowed to balloon into a monster, and the manner in which he's been allowed to get away by authorities that are very powerful, that troubles me deeply.
Okay, let me give the last word to General Katoch. Before we close, we are seeing these images. I'm assuming that these images are of the lady who's been arrested in Haryana. I'm not exactly sure, waiting for an update on that. But go ahead, General Katoch, in the meantime. Last word to you. Please unmute General Katoch. Please unmute General Katoch. Yeah, go
Yeah,
ahead,
I'm
sir.
unmuted. Barkha, I feel it is important that this person is apprehended at the earliest. The longer he stays in the free state or hiding from the law, I think the worse it will get. And the political situation will only get murkier. I repeat my point. He is a nobody. But the movement which he represents and the people who are propagating him, they represent a great deal. And while Punjab, the second point I want to make, please don't, I don't think anybody ever, in any debate which I have seen, and I've taken part in many of them, has ever conflated this issue with the Sikhs of India. There are two different issues totally. So it has got nothing to do with the Sikhs of India. It has got everything to do with a small group of people who are foreign nationals in foreign soil trying to propagate a particular philosophy. And I have maintained that those countries are responsible for those citizens, regardless of the religious faith or the ethnicity of those individuals, because they are citizens of that country. Having said that, in India, the police in Punjab is well known. They're pretty efficient. But in this particular case, this man got away. I am not a believer that force should have been used, because if this person unfortunately had been killed, he would have become a martyr. And that would have really put the cat amongst the pigeons. So we need to apprehend him. We need to show and apprehend him, get him to a court of law and show him up for what he is. But more importantly, we need to find out who is behind him and then expose the complete truth. That requires, I think requires urgency. And the faster it is done, the better it is.
Yeah. Meanwhile, I was just wondering what that image my producers had pulled up was, and I'm now told this is the house in Kurukshetra, Haryana, where Amritpal Singh stayed on the 19th of March. On the 18th of March, he was in the village where we just reported from. So this mystery continues about where this man is. As I said, it's been more than 100 hours and counting. Let me say thank you to all of you, and actually, if we can come back to where we to just show you where we are, because I want to remind everybody what our country is about. We're in Shaheed Bhagat Singh's village. On every school wall here are images of Bhagat Singh, and very symbolically the news that the British, used against him, and that, I think, is the spirit of Punjab, the spirit of India, and I think we should remember that and remind ourselves of that, of our country and what it stands for. That is the bottom line. Amritpal Singh will be caught, may not be caught, but that is the essence that we need to hold on to today. Thank you very much, General Katosh, Kapil Komireddy, to Colonel Singh, and to Ambassador Malhotra, earlier to Tavleen Singh. From the ground in Punjab, signing off for now, but many more ground reports coming up. Thank you for watching. Goodbye, sir.
It's great to see you here. Thank you for watching our work. If you haven't subscribed yet, don't forget to click the bell icon and subscribe to Mojo Story and support independent, robust journalism.